Well, you're not going to believe what I've got to share in this video. Seriously, there's never been a time when the top analysts I follow, every single one of them agree so strongly XRP is about to explode. And when I say explode, I mean many are predicting double-digit price action. In this video, I'll show you why confidence in XRP is at an all-time high, even though we've been moving sideways for months. That's perfectly normal, even in bull markets. After the massive surge we've already seen, some consolidation is expected before the next breakout. And trust me, analysts are spotting some major indicators. One even pointed out a massive bull flag forming, suggesting XRP could be heading toward the $20.00 range before this run is over. Get ready, because things are about to get wild. Let me walk you through it. Today, XRP has made a small move upward, but it's been stabilizing over the past few hours, hovering in a sideways pattern. The big question now is what's next? Even if all those analysts are spot on, and trust me, I'm all in on the idea of XRP hitting a massive parabolic surge before this cycle ends, what happens in the short term is still anyone's guess. It's like flipping a coin. That said, I want to highlight a few warnings from analysts. While the long-term outlook remains bullish, some are cautioning that we might see a short-term dip before the next big leg up. It's something I've been pointing out consistently, so don't be caught off guard if the price takes a small step back before the rocket takes off. It's definitely possible. I keep hearing the same thing from reputable analysts, but let's be real, this isn't the kind of thing that should rattle anyone with a steady mindset. Markets do what markets do, and sometimes you just have to ride the waves before the next big move upward. That said, let me be crystal clear. I'm not a financial expert, and this is not financial advice. Please don't make any buy or sell decisions based on what I say or write. Always do your own research. All right, as I sit down to record this, it's Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025, and XRP is sitting at $2.25. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen a low of $2.28 and a high of $2.28. That little pop had the community buzzing, hoping for more momentum. But so far, it's been quiet. Still, in this market, anything can happen. Despite some analysts warning we might dip further, even they admit we might not. The bottom could already be in, and we could start climbing from here. This is the unpredictable world we're in right now. Take this post from chart analyst TechDev, for example. It highlights something I wish more people would notice, a historic pattern that's key to understanding what's happening. Take a look at this chart. It's the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin. So we're talking altcoins here. Notice the note, liquidity is expanding. Altcoins expand after liquidity. This is a key concept, and I'll keep hammering it home for anyone willing to listen. Now, check out what's being highlighted. At the bottom, you'll see the altcoins. Follow my mouse. This is the liquidity. And right here, marked with a green dot, is the start of 2020. That's when liquidity expansion kicks off, tied to M2 global liquidity. If you've got a working pair of eyes, you can spot how liquidity suddenly started rising faster than it had in years. See that, and then boom, right where the arrow points, the altcoin expansion begins. That makes perfect sense. When liquidity rises, people and businesses have more cash to play with. So what do? They pour it into riskier assets. Unless, of course, chaos takes over, like tariffs or scary macroeconomic headlines that make everyone panic. And trust me, I get it. But let's not overreact. Sure, there's still a connection. No denying that. It's just that in the short term, these things can feel like the sky is falling. The reality, liquidity keeps growing, and eventually the riskier assets catch up and follow suit. The stock market and crypto, they move in sync. That's the historical pattern, and we saw it play out last cycle. Right now, we're at a stage where liquidity is expanding, and make no mistake, it's already underway. You can see the signs, liquidity expansion kicking off as highlighted for 2024. And here's the key insight. Altcoin expansion is up next, as it's been described. Why? Because liquidity doesn't just sit still. As money becomes more accessible, people and businesses take a moment to decide, but they won't wait long. So where does the money flow? It pours into risk-on assets, stocks, crypto, and yes, XRP. This is the next phase, folks. The momentum is building and more people are catching on. No single metric tells the whole story, but this one, it's a game changer. It's doing exactly what we'd expect during the cycle, and that's worth paying attention to. This is all part of the bigger picture. Just wait. It's coming. Today, we're diving deep into XRP, and trust me, you'll want to pay attention. As I walk you through this, notice how everything is falling perfectly into place for XRP. The alignment is undeniable. Let's break it down. Now, here's something interesting from Crypto Wizard, an ETH/BTC chart that tells a fascinating story. He pointed out something major. After over 3 years, it's finally broken. Ethereum versus Bitcoin has been stuck in a downtrend since 2022, but now the parabolic arc to the downside has snapped on the monthly chart. The move is just beginning. And look, I get it. Maybe you're not a fan of Bitcoin or Ethereum. That's totally fine. No hard feelings here, but the market dynamics at play, those are worth your attention. I've been holding on to Ethereum, Bitcoin, and XRP, plus a mix of other coins since 2017. While XRP has my heart, I'm rooting for all of them to succeed. Here's why I'm bringing this up. Historically, when Ethereum rallies, it often signals the start of alt season. It's a pattern we've seen before, and it's something many of us are watching and hoping will happen again. Lately, I've seen people doubting Ethereum, claiming it's over. At $1,400, they say it's going nowhere but down. But here's the thing. This kind of doomsday sentiment often surfaces right before markets hit bottom. It's not as though Ethereum suddenly lost its fundamentals overnight. Whatever you think of its long-term value, nothing structurally changed in that moment. The price dropped, but not for the reasons you might think. It had nothing to do with the usual factors. Remember what happened with XRP in 2024? I kept saying, yeah, the price is going down. And sure enough, XRP hit its lowest point against Bitcoin, arguably the worst in its history. I acknowledged it throughout 2024, reminding everyone that this is how bottoms form. And as expected, XRP skyrocketed just like it had in similar setups before. The same stories unfolding with ETH. Now, this is what we call Confluence. Look at global liquidity, M2 trends, and ETH's role in kicking off alt seasons. Chart analyst Khalil, a well-known figure with 702,000 followers on X, just dropped a bold statement. Ethereum to $10,000 is a matter of when, not if. Let that sink in. He even backed it up with a fractal chart showing his confidence in this prediction. And honestly, $10,000 ETH isn't that wild. It's just a 2x from the last cycle's peak. Now, here's where it gets spicy. If XRP were to match Ethereum's market cap at $10,000 ETH, we'd be looking at a $20 XRP. But Khalil didn't stop there. His chart suggests ETH could hit an eye-popping $20,000. So let's entertain this for a second. If that happens and XRP keeps pace, we're talking $40 XRP. Crazy, right? Look, I'm not saying this is guaranteed, far from it, but imagining the possibilities is half the fun, isn't it? Holy freaking hell, what a time to be in crypto. Even as someone who leans more on the conservative side, I'll admit this, I'm still open to being wrong. Sure, my convictions may guide me in that direction, but if things unfold differently, I'll be the first to celebrate. Honestly, who wouldn't be thrilled at the thought of double-digit price action? I would be surprised if that happens, and even if my predictions miss the mark, I'll be cheering for everyone achieving life-changing success. Imagine $40 XRP. I've got to hand it to the analysts calling for that, and I really hope they're right. I'm still a bit skeptical it'll reach those levels, but let's say all that money does pour in. Where would Bitcoin go? $250,000, $300,000? Because without Bitcoin hitting those highs, I just can't see Ethereum or XRP reaching those lofty targets this cycle. But if it does, well, game on. There's no way XRP hits those heights solo. If Bitcoin only peaks at $150,000, Ethereum caps around $7,000, I don't see it happening. But if the market's going to move, it's all going to move together. Some folks have unshakable conviction on this, and soon enough we'll know if they're right. Buckle up, folks. Take this post from the Great Matsby. When the lower time frame aligns with the higher time frame, it strengthens my conviction for an upward move in the Russell 2000. Why does this matter? Because as risk appetite grows, market breadth widens, and that's what the Russell 2000 represents, a snapshot of 2,000 small cap stocks. It's a sign that investors are getting bold. If that opens up, it's yet another key point to watch for Confluence. You might think, all right, here we go. Naturally, this could lead to more movement down the risk curve into altcoins. That's just how these cycles tend to play out time and time again. History doesn't lie. It's something I'll be keeping a close eye on. But there's another analyst chiming in suggesting, yep, the Russell 2000 is likely to keep pushing forward in the end. Check out this post from chart analyst Malleus. It's a real gem. Here's an XRP/USD chart, and I'm absolutely loving it. Malleus overlaid the 2017 fractal, and it's fascinating to see. If you're on a small screen, like your phone, it might be tricky to spot all the details, but take a closer look. The fractal marked by this dark gray line may not jump out at first, but follow its path. It climbs steadily. That's exactly what XRP did in 2017. If history's got any rhyme left, this could be the first leg of a similar move. We're nearing that moment where things could really take off again. It's coming, and this kind of setup is totally expected. I've been discussing this since 2024, and it's fascinating to look at how XRP moves during market cycles. In the last 2 cycles, XRP had a pattern. It surged, consolidated for about 6 months, and then exploded again for its final peak of the cycle. Sure, XRP didn't hit a new all-time high last cycle, but let's not forget the 6-month gap between its big moves. At the end of 2020, it skyrocketed from around 20 cents to over 80 cents. Fast forward to April 2021, and it hit $2. Not bad, considering it was under fire from the US government, which undoubtedly suppressed its price. Now check this out. It's printing a massive bull flag with the EMA 50 acting as support. That blue line, the moving average. According to detailed XRP analysis, the worst case scenario is just one impulse left. Sounds bearish, right? Well, not really. The sarcasm is obvious. Worst case scenario, one last massive surge. Historically, that's what we've seen. And honestly, with everything aligning, global liquidity on the rise, ETH positioned perfectly, and XRP charts looking primed, analysts everywhere are saying the same thing. This thing's ready to explode. It's the perfect storm. Here's the thing. If this plays out, I genuinely believe many of you listening right now might finally hit that life-changing moment of wealth. And trust me, I'm right there with you. I'm not special just because I run a YouTube channel. I've got hopes and dreams like everyone else. We all know where XRP could go, and if it does, it's game-changing. If not, we'll be a bunch of disappointed dreamers. But hey, conviction is conviction, and I'm holding strong. The numbers are climbing this market cycle, and my conviction has rarely been stronger. I came across an interesting post from chart analyst Sistine Research this morning. He stated, XRP has asymmetric upside here. Lots of flows not priced in. Pretty bold, right? He's referring to the short term, sure, but it got me thinking. Since jumping into crypto in 2017 and buying my first XRP, I've always seen it as a wildly asymmetric bet. It's like swimming upstream, but if we're right, if the utility we envision keeps expanding and adoption grows alongside a booming crypto market, the potential rewards are staggering. Risk versus reward, off the charts. When I decided to go all in on XRP, I had to really think it through. I'd invested what to me was a substantial amount of money over the years. I stuck to dollar cost averaging, slowly building my position. And then in late 2020, I took the plunge with some larger, more deliberate purchases. But before making those final big moves, I had a serious conversation with myself. I asked, if I lose every dollar I've put into XRP, would it ruin me? The thought wasn't pleasant. I mean, who likes losing money? It'd sting, sure, maybe cause some stress, but would it destroy my life? Would it be catastrophic? No. The answer was a clear no. I'd move on, disappointed, but intact. Then I flipped the question. What if I'm right about XRP? What if all this pays off? The answer to that was an undeniable, enthusiastic yes. Yes, it could absolutely be life-changing. So with that realization, I took the leap, not recklessly, but with the confidence that the reward was worth the risk. When I started looking at it from that perspective, everything clicked. It suddenly felt inevitable. My conviction was so strong, even back then, that I couldn't ignore it. How could I not do this? It consumed me. I thought, if I don't act on what I believe, I'm just fooling myself. And now that belief has only grown stronger. Looking back, with everything that's happened legally and in terms of real world adoption and fundamentals, it's clear I made the right call. I'm sure many of you feel the same. Sticking around these past few years has been total validation, a huge vindication of what we've believed all along. But let's not get too comfortable. The best is still ahead. This morning, chart analyst Cryptolica shared an update on XRP's price range predictions. He's consistently pointed to this range, and now he's projecting XRP could hit $10.00 this market cycle. Could that be conservative? Maybe. It's entirely possible. Imagine this. XRP hit rock bottom at $0.28 in June 2022. Now picture it skyrocketing all the way to $10.00. That's not just a win, that's monumental. Absolutely game-changing. Chart analyst A. Greg Crypto recently shared a bullish XRP update, spotlighting a breakout target of $2.36. He emphasizes $2.30 as a critical support level to confirm the bullish trend. Once that's locked in, the next big milestone is $2.65, signaling a surge in momentum and a clear path upward. Interestingly, $2.65 has been a hot topic among analysts, with many highlighting it as a crucial level. Even chart expert Blockchain Backer has pinpointed this exact target. Meanwhile, other analysts like Crypto suggest a similar number, eyeing $2.60 instead. Maybe we're nitpicking, but key levels are starting to stand out here. One major line in the sand is $2.30, a level also highlighted by eGreg Crypto. Then there's $2.60 and $2.94. Beyond that, it's thin air. Once a few of these levels break, XRP could rocket into all-time high territory and finally enter price discovery. That said, a short-term pullback is still on the table. Chart analyst Zoom shared a post this morning emphasizing the need for XRP to grab liquidity around the $2.00 zone. So far, it's hit $2.07, but hasn't quite tapped $2.00. Don't get carried away, he warned at 11:05 a.m. as XRP was gaining momentum. By now, it's moving sideways around $2.25. Zoom's not alone in sounding the alarm. Several analysts are eyeing a potential dip to the $1.90 $2.00 range. While it's not guaranteed, it's something to keep on your radar. Here's the latest from Charting Guy this morning at 11:15 a.m. He's got his eyes on XRP, currently hitting resistance. He's spotting a rejection forming, which could lead us to $2.05, a potential final bear trap. But here's the twist. He believes it's just that, a trap for bears. Why? Because once we hit that zone, he's confident XRP will rocket upward. There's just too much liquidity sitting below. Crypto Insight UK highlighted this too. With so many buyers waiting for a dip, analysts agree it's unlikely XRP drops below the $1.90 to $2.00 zone. Even if it does, it would likely be a quick wick down before bouncing back, fueled by eager buyers ready to pounce on lower prices. Getting an XRP for $2.00 now feels like a steal. Crazy to think there was a time we used to dream about it even touching $2, right? That was pretty much all of last year. And boom, here we are. Didn't take as long as it felt, huh? Well, okay, maybe not for me. I've been waiting 7.5 years for this moment, but hey, patience pays off and it's been worth every second. Absolutely. It's going to be surreal watching this story finally reach its conclusion. The signs couldn't be clearer for what's most likely to happen next. Of course, no one can predict the future, not even me. Sure, there's always a chance things could go sideways, the market collapses, a bear run, World War III, the whole shebang. Hey, yeah, we get it. Anything's possible. All that might happen, but history has a way of repeating itself, and I'm betting on that. That's usually the case. Liquidity is increasing and people are going to start allocating funds. Risk appetite will grow. The tariff nonsense, it'll get wrapped up. So those big macro concerns off the table. What more could you ask for? Hopefully this all kicks off by summer. Sooner would be even better. Some analysts think that's possible, but if we have to wait until late summer or early fall, so be it. Fine, plot twist. But seriously, patience is hard. The anticipation is real. I need this now, but hey, no tantrums here. Okay, maybe just a little. We're about to figure this out together, but honestly, there's no reason to worry. It's time to get excited. This isn't my usual mindset when it comes to crypto, because let's face it, most of the time, we're not in a bull market. We're not perched on the edge, ready to tip into something extraordinary. But this time we are. Right now, I can't help but feel this overwhelming surge of optimism and excitement. Things are heading in an incredible direction. And for once, I'm fully leaning into that unstoppable wave of positivity. Mostly, I'd call it optimism. Yeah, let's go with that. And honestly, I always carry this spark of excitement. It just feels right, doesn't it? We're at this pivotal moment in the cycle, and excitement fits perfectly. Tell me if I'm wrong, but it feels almost undeniable that the best is yet to come. It's so close, you can practically feel it. Just a little more patience, like waiting one last minute on a ticking timer. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't make any buy or sell decisions based solely on what I say. Seriously, that would be a terrible idea. Don't do it.